Joe Zarzaur and Dr. Evan Malone here again for another episode of Zarzaur Law TV. Today we're going to talk about a recent journal article that the Washington Post featured in a newspaper piece on May 3rd of 2016. Basically, it was a British medical journal, or what's known as BMJ, did a study where they concluded, and I know that you can almost conclude anything in any particular study, but based on some data that they got from Johns Hopkins, it looks like, or from various other facilities, they concluded that the third leading cause of death in the United States is medical errors, and that's a new finding. The chart that they put in the study had that there were 614,000 or so deaths from heart disease a year, 591,000 deaths per year in the United States related to cancer, and then the third category or cause of death in the United States was medical errors, 251,000. Just to give you a little idea, accidents were 136,000. So, Dr. Malone, first of all, we're not saying all doctors are bad and all doctors create problems and all hospitals are bad and all hospitals create problems. But what is the takeaway that you get as a physician from this article?
The takeaway, Joe, was I personally feel that, yes, this is something that needs to be exposed and uncovered and explored, meaning the researchers who did this study, who compiled this information, are saying that it's something that's not been a measurable piece of data in the way that documentation is performed nowadays, meaning on death certificates you don't write down wrong surgery or wrong medication delivered. What's documented is what they're in the hospital for. They died of respiratory failure. They died of cardiac arrest. So separating out the error that may have led to that is certainly something that needs to be.
How are they doing it for purposes of this categorization? I guess.
Well, it was all. That's one of the faults of this study is that there's no standard way of measuring this. So some of this they extrapolated.
Oh. You think it's underestimated or overestimated?
I think it's overestimated.
Okay.
Again, that's just my opinion.
The 251?
Probably. And the other issue is, the question I would have for these researchers would be, of that 251,000, how many of them were in the hospital because of cancer or because of heart disease?
Okay.
The two leading causes, for instance, or for any other reason.
Right.
So you asked what the take-home message was, is whatever you can do to avoid a hospital, that's probably number one, whether it's leading a healthier lifestyle, avoiding accidents that would cause you to be in a hospital, things like that. Number two is, yes, there are errors that will cause someone's demise or contribute to it. Now, are these people that are barely alive as it is because of their underlying diagnosis, and we're keeping them alive longer nowadays? Like, great, we have better chemotherapy, better treatment for whatever their disease may be, and they died of an illness in the hospital because of an error that was delivered, with that care. So there's definitely some confusion with this, but again, I don't contend that errors don't exist. I think that this is just the tip of the iceberg on hopefully getting this stuff tweezed out with some of the documentation as far as why people are dying, why they're dying in the hospital. Is it strictly because of iatrogenic causes, something that was put onto them by healthcare providers, the system, or is it in concert with, yes, they were also extremely ill at the time?
Right. Well, and it highlights something that we deal with every day at the firm, and that's medical malpractice cases. We look at tons of cases every year. We only take a very few amount because they're difficult to bring and win. But it does highlight something that's important to everybody. If you're in the hospital, the best thing for you to do, and you can't get out for whatever reason, is to be an advocate for yourself. Have somebody there that maybe is your dedicated, smart medical person that's a non-physician even, that can be your advocate, questioning everything that's going on in the hospital without being rude, right? And making sure that there's a reason and a basis for all the things that they are prescribing for you, and that everything is explained to you in such detail that either you or your advocate can understand why it is they're being ordered. We appreciate you tuning in. If you have questions about medical errors, medical malpractice cases, or any kind of accidents cases or injury cases, you can call us at 855-HIRE-JOE or on the web at zarzaurlaw.com. Thank you.